So I've done 3 Paralympic Games in Beijing, Rio, and Tokyo, and I'm training for my 4th one in Paris in 2024, which...
Ever get dealt an entirely new hand in life? Maybe getting dealt a new hand would turn out to be way better than you thought. She's the author of the book, The Power of Choice. She's a speaker, Paralympic triathlete, Purple Heart recipient, and a mom of 2. Melissa Stockwell joins the podcast where we chat about her journey after losing a limb during the Iraq War to where she is today. So, let's do it.
Too many days in the darkness without a glimpse of the light. Running tired and broken and scared, but I swear I'll never give up the fight. I see you broken and beat, head pulled down over your eyes. Every part of you wants to surrender, but darling, you were meant to survive.
Welcome to the podcast, Melissa.
Thank you for having me. Yeah, an honor to be on. I appreciate it.
No, that is honestly all mine, because when I was in my thoughts for, who to have on for Women's Health Month, the types of guests, your story really obviously stood out to me from, what took place in Iraq and your book especially. But then, I'm seeing all these amazing photos of you competing in the Paralympics all around the world. And then I'm seeing you in photos with like former presidents, with the Obamas, and then I think even dancing with George Bush, if I'm right with that. And I'm like, wow, how have I not had her on the podcast yet? So I'm feeling extremely, extremely lucky. And I would like, if you could kind of walk us through, what your journey was like so far, and looking back where you can say, that what was a really pivotal moment for you.
So I was in the military and went over to Iraq as part of Operation Iraqi Freedom in 2004. And I was there for 3 weeks when I was on a routine convoy and my vehicle was struck by a roadside bomb, which ultimately resulted in the loss of my left leg above the knee, which is where I stand today. And that kind of, obviously that was like the pivotal moment of my life. I mean, I think that would be kind of anyone's, big moment of, like you never expect anything like that to happen to you. Those kind of things always happen to somebody else, but this time it was me. So going to Walter Reed Army Medical Center, kind of seeing the other soldiers, having to truly like relearn how to live my life, this time with just one leg. So kind of everything that comes with acceptance and, kind of a new normal and everything that comes with it. That definitely was the moment that turned my life around for sure.
And you'd only been there for 3 weeks?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Wow, that's crazy, because I would think, 3 weeks, you're not even settled in yet in a different country. Yeah. Your first deployment, you're getting settled, you're still like mapping out the itinerary, and you were an officer. So, you're in one of the ones in charge of one of the decision leaders as well.
Yeah, you're right. It was 3 weeks. It was quick. We had kind of, just moved into, a place where we could have the better sleeping accommodations. It was all like still very new, definitely.
And could you tell us a little bit about your experience at Walter Reed too? Because I feel like that's also life-changing as well, because I can only imagine the frame of mind you're in when that happens.
Yeah.
How am I going to move on with my life? Because when you're a lieutenant in the Army and you're active duty, that to most people is your 20-year career. And that's what people first see. And you're 3 weeks into your first deployment. That happens. Now your whole future is up for grabs. I can only imagine where you are, but then when you go into Walter Reed, also seeing what other soldiers are also experiencing as well, how kind of you'd have some mixed feelings.
Yeah, it was, I've always been a very like positive person, and that sounds, very cliche, but it's very true. Always like very much like glass half full, and oh, it's raining, but doesn't the rain feel good? It's like very like positive-esque, kind of growing up. And which honestly helps a tremendous amount after, this life-changing injury. But yeah, I would look around at Walter Reed, and there were, the war had been going on for, about a year at that point. And I was surrounded by, all these soldiers that were missing, had traumatic injuries as well. Some of them missing much more than I was missing. So, both legs, a leg, an arm, they had lost their eyesight. So I could never really feel sorry for myself. If I ever had a bad day, really all I had to do was like look around and realize that, I'm one of the lucky ones. Like all I lost is one leg. So it put things in perspective when I needed it most, for sure.
Well, you had said that famous quote too. I've done more with one leg than I ever could have done with two, and that speaks volumes. And I'd like for you to kind of expand really what you mean and some examples of where you came down to that too, because it's especially like what you just said. You're a glass half full type of person, and that is exactly it. Because you're basically saying I actually wouldn't be where I am today if I still had my two legs.
Sure. Yeah. I think, it's been almost 19 years, which is crazy. I lost my leg in 2004. So I think it's more when I look back on my life, over the past 19 years, or even, after 10 years, I look back and just realize how many opportunities I've had, the people I had met, the things that I've been able to do. And again, it sounds strange, but it's a very true statement. Like I honestly have done more with one leg than I ever would have done with two.
And how was that journey when you started to, learn new things? I'd really like to touch on too, because I think from thinking of the majority of people out there, I feel like we're very timid and scared to try new things. I think we kind of live in our own little box and shell unless we're forced either financially or medically or something to actually start something brand new. And in your case, you've started, I feel like, so many different new things. From getting into the Paralympics to learning how to function every day with having one limb and working with a prosthetic, to now I believe you're even running your own prosthetics business as well, and helping others too, which is just basically starting so many new avenues in life post college. Sure. is so rare. And I feel like everybody in the mid-20s and later in life, we're like at that point an old dog that doesn't want to learn a new trick. But in your case, you're the absolute opposite, and you've fully embraced everything, which I believe too maybe leading to some of your success.
Yeah, you're right. I think so. It's scary to have change, right? It's scary to try new things, and we all get so set in our comfort zones of, even if you're not happy with what, like maybe the job you're at or the life you're living, but you just have this sense of comfort, right? It's hard to change. Like I'm the first one to say, like, I'm not good at change. Like it's hard, but when you're forced to do it, like I had no choice losing a leg. It was a forced change that I didn't choose, but I had to learn to deal with it. And in the meantime, learned that, like change is okay. And a lot of times we don't give ourselves enough credit on the things that we can do. And if you just get out there and like try something new, or like try something that you've always wanted to try, but you're scared to, like just try it. Like you never know what you can do unless you just get out there and do it. So very much the attitude of don't tell yourself you can't do something, and try it, and that we can do way more than we think we can.
Yeah, and your story reminds. Have you ever listened to the song "Never Let Go" by Bryan Adams?
No, but I should. That sounds like a good song. It
is a very, very good song. It was actually played and became pretty well known during, Kevin Costner?
Uh-huh.
His movie, The Guardian. Have you ever seen The Guardian? Where he plays
oh gosh, I like parts of it, kind of.
Well, he plays a diver for the Coast Guard as a search and rescue diver. And at the end of the story, very tragic ending. I'm not gonna give anything away there. No. But you'll be sobbing at the end of the movie, and part of it is because of this song. And these lyrics always stood out to me. And listening to your story and kind of getting to know your journey a little bit, I want to just play these two lines for you. Two lines, because it fits your story so perfectly. And then I want to ask you a question afterwards, okay?
Okay.
I know sit down again and play another hand? Could you risk everything?
And that, it just, to me, I've been there myself. I know so many people that are there now as well, where like we just live in this box mentality and we think to ourselves, we can't do this, or just, no, I don't have time for this. And to be able to actually lose something and sit down again and play an entirely new hand. I can't think of someone more relatable to that lyric than yourselves in terms of just having to do it. And do you have any advice for anybody where they have something in their head that they really, really want to do? Because I'm seeing this across social media, people I know, listeners, that they have this thing that they want to do and they're just too, I feel like timid. Maybe you could put more perspective on it. I think it's timidness. I think it's what if, and they don't want to go there. It's out of their comfort zone. Is there any real advice you could dig inside yourself and be like, you know what, that's really what helped me when I was considering, do I do the Paralympics or not? Do I go here and do that? Do I get in? Do you have any advice?
I think we all, like, life is short and the days are short. There's never, the most common thing, like, statement I feel like I always hear is, there's never enough time to do the things I want to do. But
that is,
yeah, I think you find though what you're passionate about. You find like what drives you and what makes your soul happy, and you find time for it. So I think it's almost like reassessing like what's most important to you in your life. If you want to, for me, I live a life of athletics, right? So if I want to go to the Paralympic Games, well, I know that I have to sacrifice X, Y, and Z to make it happen. And sleep is important and nutrition is important. And, and I like a clean house, but maybe I need to sacrifice leaving dishes in the sink every so often so I can like get a good night's sleep. It's like little things like that, but they add up. And like, it sounds like silly to say, but like they truly do. I think you just find a time to, like, you find what makes you happy, and then you just find a way to make it happen. Like every hour of my day is kind of like allotted, and they are busy days. And sometimes I sit down, I'm like, oh my gosh, I just did a lot today. Like the days are short, but they are also very long. Like there is time to do it. Like you just have to make it.
No, that's a good point, because I think of you, right? I think of where you came, and especially the amount that you had to learn too about all of these different facets. And you're a mama of two, right?
Yes, I am. So that's busy in itself.
Yes. How do you juggle being a mom of two and everything that you do, and still feeling like you are giving your children the time that they deserve?
Yeah. It is, days are busy. I wouldn't have it any other day. My kids always come first. I do travel a decent amount for training and racing and such, but I do feel like that makes me a better parent or a better mother when I am home. I want to be present. I want to be at everything I can be. I'm at every sporting thing. I try to, I try to volunteer in the classroom, like as much as I can. And I think my kids, like, they're 5 and 8, so they're kind of getting to the age where they know like what I do. So it's fun. It's busy, but honestly, I wouldn't have it any other way. I love it. If my kids are at a race and they're on the sideline screaming, "Go, mommy, go." That's what like drives me. If they get home from a run and they're in the, cheering me on from the driveway, that's just, doesn't matter if I had a bad run, like that, I'm mom first. And I don't know, it adds this new perspective. I love it. I love it.
Good. I can tell you love it. It screams off you.
Yeah.
Do you have any plans for your kids getting into any sports?
They are kind of starting. My 8-year-old. So my husband is a hockey player, rec hockey player, but he loves hockey. So my son, I feel like I'm destined to be a hockey mom. I wouldn't say unfortunately. I don't know if I'd say fortunately either. Hockey is life. Yeah. But they've tried hockey, soccer. My daughter's in dance. I don't think dance is her thing, but it's kind of, you kind of want to like let your kids try a bunch of stuff and like see what they kind of take to. And yeah, I think hockey might be where we're at. Yeah.
Hockey's not bad. Honestly, if I could go back and think, out of all the sports I played, which is there a sport that I would try? It would probably be hockey, because I was,
Yeah.
you know, basketball, football, tennis, and baseball. And
Sure.
hockey was always fun because, or I thought it was fun because it was like an indoor football atmosphere.
Yeah, that's true. It's just, I mean, that equipment smells like that is some serious.
Oh, it's
smell.
disgusting.
Oh,
That
God.
locker room.
If it stays in like a hot car on the hockey bag, you get it out and it's just like, ugh.
And
Yeah. I mean,
it could
listen,
be,
I feel like at this point, for some reason, like sports are super competitive for kids. And I don't love that it's like that. It's like, if you're not on the travel hockey team by 8 years old, like, well, might as well count yourself out, like it's unfortunate that it's like come that competitive, but it is. So yeah, it's just, I think any sport ends up being your life when they get into it. So
yeah. And
as long as it's something, honestly, if they love it, that's all I care about. And my son truly loves it. So that's the most you can ask for.
and the sports too have turned into year-round seasons too. It's like
Yeah.
each season has its own
Yep.
team. It used to be just like basketball would have like its
Like
springtime
in the
season,
spring, right?
but now
right.
it's summer, it's fall, and now every
Yep.
other is following.
Every other, I agree. It's like all the time. Yes.
Yeah. But so when I was doing my due diligence with just your journey to where you are today, I was like, a picture is definitely worth 1,000 words. And I was like, I can probably only get away with asking her about one of these photos. And it was between the George Bush photos of you, him hugging you with Barack Obama and standing next to you guys. And it was between that and the photo of you and Michelle Obama chatting it away. And the Michelle Obama one caught my eye most because I didn't even think you guys knew like the cameras were rolling. It was like you guys were off to the side, just like a little chat. And it was a really candid shot. And you guys just looked like two besties just chatting it up, And it's my favorite because, and that's obviously the photo I'm going with here, because it's Women's Health Month, right? So to start, you've got Michelle Obama, who some of her great grandparents were born into slavery, and here she is living in the White House for 8 years. And she's talking to Melissa Stockwell, former U.S. Army officer, first woman to lose a limb in the Iraq War, Purple Heart and Bronze Star recipient, triathlete. And I mean, that's two badass women right there. And I need to ask you, what was that conversation like? Because you guys are both happy, laughing, and smiling. And I was like, I wish I was a bug on the wall for that conversation. So if you remember what it was like and don't mind like kind of sharing some of those details, I would love to get up behind the scenes.
Right. And I honestly don't know if I know what the conversation was about. So what the setting was, we were at an event called the Warrior Games, which is an event. It brings all different branches of the military, Army, Air Force, Navy, Coast Guard in for this like week-long event where like different branches are competing against each other. And this specific Warrior Games happened to be held at the Olympic Training Center in Colorado Springs. And there's opening ceremonies, and there's like a torch, kind of like it's kind of based off of the Olympics, right? Like you have a torch bearer, and they light this torch, and the flame is up for the whole week. So we're at the Olympic Training Center. There's like a torch that you run up, and you put it out, and you like light the torch thing. And she was there as like the special guest. I was one of the torch people that like walked up the stairs like with the thing, and with the.
You're the torch bearer.
What am I talking about? The torch bearer, the torch. And I don't know, honestly, I wish I knew what we were talking about. I think we were maybe joking about, like, I think I maybe joked about how I didn't want to trip up the stairs. I don't really know exactly what the conversation was, but I just remember like her being incredibly genuine and kind. And, I had been fortunate to meet a good number of presidents, and I tend to remember them not for their like political, but like who they are as people, like what they seem like as people. And yeah, I remember just being very like, giddy, like, oh my gosh, like I'm standing next to a first lady, like, wow, like this is never going to happen again, just like living like just in the moment,
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome to hear too. I saw too that there's not many photos of 3 or more presidents in the same photo either. And in that one photo with you, Barack Obama, Michelle, Hillary Clinton, Bill Clinton, Barack, Michelle, and then the Carters too. And then Condoleezza Rice, and then you're there too. I was like, that is the coolest photo ever, because you might be in a photo where there will never be that many presidents all in one photo again.
Yeah, that was a moment. I mean, talk about surreal. My first thought was there's got to be so much security right now. Like
Oh, yeah.
all the people in that room. Yeah, completely surreal. And I look back at those pictures and it's just like, yeah, wow. Yeah.
It's insane. You're in Gaga moment.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. So I would love to ask you too, from where you're at right now to where you came from. What do you have any plans for like the next 5-10 years that you can kind of give us an insight? I mean, obviously we know things can change at a drop of a hat, right? But
yeah, exactly.
anything you kind of let us insight on?
Yeah, I am. So I've done 3 Paralympic Games in Beijing, Rio, and Tokyo, and I'm training for my 4th one in Paris in 2024, which there's no guarantee I'm gonna make it, but I'm gonna try. In Tokyo, it was like the COVID games, so there was no spectators. So this time around, if I make it, you know, my family will go, my kids will be old enough to remember it, we'll have friends go. It'll be honestly epic. Like I'm so excited. The possibility of it is just pretty amazing. So that is like probably, I mean, that's still, you know, it's a year and a half away, but a year and a half happens pretty quickly. So that's kind of the thing that's kind of biggest on the horizon. I mean, first and foremost, obviously, like trying to be the best mom I can be and continuing that. And, you know, I do a lot of motivational speaking, so kind of traveling around and speaking. So yeah, just, I don't know, trying to live every day the best I can, really.
Yeah, that sounds like a good game plan.
Yeah, like we all should do, right?
Yeah, no, I feel like we very quickly just lose sight of living and enjoying things. It looks like you really enjoy and get every ounce of every single day out of it, though, which is really nice to see.
I mean, I try, right? I think that's the best we can do. I mean, I have moments or days where I'm just like, oh my gosh, like, oh, like I have no energy. I just want to, you know, sit here and do nothing. And some days you need that, honestly, like, and it's okay to need that. And I mean, sometimes that's how you recharge. And if I ever get to that point, I know that I actually need to do that. Right. So, I mean, we all have ups and downs. I'm no different, like days where I don't want to jump into a pool or, you know, whatever it may be, but I don't know. I'm still very much, you know, feeling very fortunate to live the lives that we all do and trying not to take that for granted.
No, it's great to hear. I appreciate you coming on today, Melissa. This was great. If anyone's listening going, I need some more Melissa Stockwell in my life, where can they find you? Is it just Instagram?
Yeah, Instagram's the best.
Website?
mstockwell01. And it yeah, I feel like I try to showcase the ups and downs of life, and like I got some cute kids in there and training and all that. So yeah, you can follow me there.
Awesome. I'm a follower already, so we're looking forward to maybe touching base again down the road sometime. Let's see how you're doing.
I would love that. Yeah, and thanks again for having me on today. It's awesome.
Absolutely, it's my pleasure, Melissa.
All right, thanks.
Talk soon.
Every star